Hey guys, so today we are going to discuss about brand identity. So in the context of brand identity, it is actually a set of characteristics that define a company's overall image or personality. The term originates from graphic design, but is also used in other contexts such as marketing and advertising. The concept of brand identity has been around since 19th century but only really gained traction during the 1970s when it was adopted by companies to help differentiate themselves from their competitors. So today, brand identity is widely used as a marketing tool to help customers recognize and identify a company's products and services and understand the company's culture. So brand identity can be expressed through visual elements such as logo and typography, and as well as verbal elements such as slogans and taglines. So the process of developing a brand identity is known as branding. Brand identity can also be described as the set of values, beliefs, attitudes, and practices that distinguish one organization or company from another. The history in 18th century, trade identities were often used by companies as they tried to protect their market position from rival companies. So, in this video, I will help you develop a clear, concise brand identity for your products. By the end of this guide, you will have a brand identity that is memorable, easy to use, and well matched to your target audience. So, the purpose of brand identity. The purpose of brand identity is to create a lasting impression on the consumer. It's about what your audience thinks and feels when they hear, see, or read your company name and logo. A brand can be thought of as a promise, an emotion, or even a feeling. A brand is how people connect with your business. It's the sum of all that you do and say as part of your brand identity. So when we think of branding, we usually think of a logo and a slogan. That's why these are the most important parts of any brand identity. But it does not really stop there. We also need a website, a phone number, a tagline, or even a product or service offering. A brand identity is a promise to your audience. If you don't deliver on this promise, it's just not good enough. A brand identity is not a simple task to create. So it actually requires a lot of research, creativity, strategy, design, messaging, and marketing. So brand identity can be defined in many different ways. Some people think of a brand as the whole experience an audience has when interacting with your company. So others think of it as a set of standards and practices for how a business operates. So still, others think of it as an emotion that creates a positive feeling in the audience about the company. So in reality, brand is all about all these things. And none of these things, actually, it's a piece of puzzle that when all of the pieces come together, makes up the entire picture of a company's identity. So brand is the face of your company. So how do you define your brand's voice? We have a lot of clients, some of whom are just starting out, and others who are more established. So in our experience, the most common problem is that people don't know what to write down, and when they're asked to describe their brand, they don't know how to explain why their brand works for them, what makes it unique, or what's behind its message. So in this video, I will discuss how to do that. We'll look at the what makes a brand unique and why you need to be able to explain your brand in a few simple sentences. You'll learn why you should always have a clear vision for your brand and how to develop your brand strategy in a way that is easy to understand for everyone involved in the process. So, to define your brand, you have to understand that brand is a promise. So, once again, brand is a promise. It's the promise of something that will make you stand out and differentiate your company or even yourself from your competition. You want to define your brand by quality of the product or service you provide, how you deliver that product or service, and how you position yourself in the marketplace. Brand has to be more than a logo. It has to be more than an identity as well. So what are you doing that's different? What do you stand for? What's your promise? So you're going to have to think about your customers. You're going to think about your brand. You're going to have to think about what you are going to say. You're actually going to have to think about how you're going to sell that product or services that you have. And then you're going to have to think about who your competitors are. You are going to think about your customers' expectation from you. So it's actually a promise. So to define your brand, you have to ask yourself, what do I want to promise? What do I want to say about myself and my products or my services? You have to answer those questions. Once you have done that, then you can use those answers to develop your brand strategy. To develop your brand strategy, you have to basically start with the fundamentals or basics. So, when you think about your brand, where does it come from? Who are you? Why do people buy from you? Why should they buy from you over the competition? So, what is your mission? Your brand is actually defined by answers to these questions. So, it's not just a logo, it's actually, once again, a promise. Now, there's one thing you need to be sure of when before you begin. So, you have to understand how to define your brand in a way that is very simple, clear, and you have to be clear as well and very easy to communicate. You can't just be vague, you can't just be unclear. You have to be able to explain your brand in a few short sentences. So let's look at what makes a brand unique. A brand is unique because it has a promise. A brand promise is something that you want people to remember when they think about your brand. And it's not just a logo, it's more than that. And once it's a promise, you have to deliver it to your customers or even, to your existing clients. So it's why you stand out in the marketplace anyway. So and that's why people will remember you. So your brand is unique because it has a purpose. So how do you create a brand identity? So creating a brand identity is a big challenge for any businesses. So it's not just about having a unique logo or a tagline. So it's about conveying your brand's personality. A great brand identity should give your business a distinctive character while still being able to convey your core values and what you do. So it's important to consider how you want your customers to feel when they see or hear your name. A brand identity has to be consistent with your business's brand, but also needs to stand out from the competition. If you look at the brands that are successful, they've been around for decades, so they've built a loyal customer base. You might be wondering what it takes to create a brand identity for your business. The steps to creating a brand identity are as follows. So, start with your brand's vision. So, you need to know what your brand stands for and what you want your customers to feel when they see your logo or name. This is where you can get creative. You can use words and phrases that are meaningful to your business or create a word mark that conveys your brand's personality. For example, if you are a business that sells baby products, you might consider creating a brand identity that uses a baby in your logo or tagline. So choose a color palette. So it's also important to choose a color palette that is consistent with your brand. The colors you choose should be representative of your business. So, for example, if you sell furniture, then your brand color palette should be familiar to the colors you used in the furniture stores. So, if you sell organic food, you may want to use green as a major color in your branding. Make sure it works across any platforms. So once you have a visual identity in place, it's time to ensure it works across all your different marketing channels. So this includes your website, social media, email, and any other digital channels you use. So make sure everything is aligned with your branding. This is very important because if your audience does not recognize your logo or name, they won't be able to find you. It's also important that you create content that is consistent with your brand. So, for example, if you sell organic food, then you should create organic recipes on your blog. So, if you sell baby products, once again, then your blog should include tips for parents. So if you sell furniture, then your blog should include articles about interior designs. So if you sell online courses, then your blog should, include tutorials and step-by-step guides. So you can also use videos, infographics, and other visuals to create engaging content. So branding and marketing are two sides of the coin. So they are both about building your company, business, or product, or even services. So in such a way that people will remember it and tell others. Branding is the foundation for marketing. Marketing is the way you use branding to build a business, a product, or your message. A brand identity is the overall impression people have of your business. So it's who you are as a business. And yeah, thank you so much. And I hope you learned a lot from my video. And that's it for today. And see you in the next video. And don't forget to check out my website as well at rankyourniche.com. So see you soon.